Hey everybody, Jarb here, and welcome back to another episode of Stuff I Watched, May edition. Once again, a somewhat light month for me. I'm not sure if you can call 29 movies in a month light, but compared to the past few months, it was. To be fair, I graduated and got COVID, so I started the month rough, but without any further ado, let's just get into it. I started the month seeing Challengers again, which I actually saw twice this month, and I promise that video is coming soon. It's hard for me to call anything else my favorite movie this year, and I promise I'm not being hyperbolic when I say I enjoyed this more and more with each viewing. Luca Guadagnino really has it, man. Then I rewatched Finding Frances, and this one also never gets old for me. Nathan Fielder pretty perfectly translates everything that's great about his style of humor in Nathan For You to a movie in a way a lot of comedians struggle to. It really is between Fielder and Tim Robinson for my favorite comedian. Both of them just never fail to continue crafting jokes in the same style of humor that always get me. This slow descent into something more personal and both strange and genuine is unreal. I dare you to find something funnier than that kiss scene. After that, I watched Unfrosted and had a pretty miserable time with this one. Seinfeld has struggled to really get anything out of me after his show ended, and nothing changes here. Loading your cast to the brim with incredibly funny actors is a good idea when you're taking a more comedic approach to the corporate biopic, but giving them nothing to really work with kills everything good this movie had going. I understand that at times this is trying to poke fun at the goofy corporate biopic structure I pointed out in my video, but it falls into the exact same traps a ton. It just isn't funny. No one can say that I'm not committed to what I make videos on because this really hurt to watch. Then I watched Drive Away Dolls and had a pretty good time. Far from my favorite Coens, even though only one of them was involved, but it was cute, and Margaret Qualley and Geraldine Viswanathan, I hope I didn't mispronounce that, have really good chemistry, and I just really love both of them as actresses. I think I watched this hoping for just a little more, something to really push it over the edge, that it factor to put it, but I still enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. I just think the reputations the Coens have built that kept me hoping for a bit more. After that, I rewatched The Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I watched all of the modern Planet of the Apes movies in preparation for the new one. I'd seen at least 2 of them before this, and didn't remember loving any of them that much. I came into this one expecting to not really like it at all, but I actually think it's aged pretty well. Yeah, not a ton happens here, and it's mainly setting up what happens in the next 2, but taking some time to give us a full detailed origin of Caesar, as well as his relationship to He Who Shall Not Be Named, was actually a pretty smart idea. Caesar and a lot of the apes introduced here are just so charismatic, that's hard to be upset with the lack of tons of plot progression here. Then I watched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and absolutely loved it. In basically every way, this feels like a significant step up from what we got in Rises, and really sold me on the franchise. CGI-wise, nothing coming out today besides the newest Apes movie looks this good. These movies really stand as an example of how great CGI can look when VFX teams get an actual budget in a proper amount of time. Koba is the best villain this franchise has had, and I love every scene that he's in. I think I really just love this movie and really want to watch it again. After that, I rewatched War for the Planet of the Apes, and I like this a lot more than I remembered. I think the movie loses its strong world-building momentum that starts to build at the beginning to instead make this a full focus on Caesar, which admittedly is the best part. Rounding out the trilogy with a focus on the humanity of Caesar was just a really strong choice, and it is a fitting end to the trilogy in Caesar's arc. Certainly preferred Dawn to this, but it's hard to be disappointed at all. Then I watched The Iron Claw and loved it. I was really mad at myself for missing this in theaters and having to wait months for it, but it was worth the wait. Everyone in this movie is just giving a phenomenal performance, and I'm glad Efron and White are getting recognized, but I definitely think Harris Dickinson has gone overlooked here when he was maybe my favorite part for a lot of the movie. At times this feels like a Kevin biopic, but I think the structure around the lone survivor and connecting force to the whole family was the right choice. I want to rewatch this, but we'll certainly need some time before I can return to it. After that, I rewatched Kill Bill Volume 1, and I think it is still easily one of my favorite Tarantino movies ever. I usually talk about these 2 movies as one, but I think this time around I finally had a super strong preference between the 2, and it is this one. This never lets up and is really one of the best action movies ever, and the final act is flawless, and I'm so glad I got to revisit this. Then I watched How to Blow Up a Pipeline, and this was downright amazing. I love the way it was shot. The film grain works a lot here with the mood the movie is going for. It never looks like it's trying to wow you, but the subtlety works, and it might be one of my favorite shot movies of that year. Everyone in the cast here is phenomenal and giving such strong and real performances. It does a great job of building a strong Ocean's 11-esque cast. This movie just needs to be talked about more. After that, I saw King of Comedy, and man, Joker just stole literally everything from this and Taxi Driver. I really enjoyed this a ton. Scorsese really is in his own class for directing, and the way he slowly builds out these somewhat simple ideas is really amazing. I love the way this looked, the colors popped in every single shot, and it's maybe my favorite looking Scorsese ever? I don't know. Killers looks good, but this is a really good movie. Then I watched the Bob Marley movie. Yeah, this wasn't really good at all, and if I'm being honest, I remember basically none of it. I'm just tired of stories about people who were so unique, being so by the books. They all feel like they're playing it really safe when those artists became the icons they were by doing anything but that. After that, I rewatched Kill Bill Volume 2 and enjoyed it a bit less than I remembered. The perfect momentum in Kill Bill 1 is missing here, and the third act certainly has its problems. I get why Tarantino chose to end it the way he did. Going for a conversation instead of a huge fight was honestly an interesting choice, but I'm just not sure how I feel about it. Elle vs. the Bride is one of the best fights ever put to screen, if not the best. But I also just gotta say it, Tarantino really doesn't get Superman, but that's fine. I just needed to say it. Then I watched Zoolander for the first time and wish it didn't take this long for me to see this movie. I don't love the word iconic, but it really fits here. This is one of those comedies that can't be matched no matter how much they try. Great cast, great jokes, and just such a great time. After that, I watched The Edge of 17, and it's pretty alright. Not a great movie, it doesn't have a ton to really say, but it does a pretty good job of portraying high school and teenage, so I'll give it that. If I was in high school when I saw this, I would have really fallen in love with this, but for now it's just okay to me. Then I saw The American Society of Magical Negroes, and didn't love it. It feels really aimless and lost for a good portion of the movie, and like two scripts that were combined at the last minute to try and hit two target audiences at once. The social commentary feels really safe and basic, and like I said, tacked on to a different script, because the movie really only works when it's focusing on the rom-com elements. I do really like Justice Smith though. I don't know the public opinion, but he has got it for me because he is that talented. After that, I saw the TV Glow and really loved it. Went back to back with Justice Smith movies, and I'm glad again I doubled down my belief in him because he is so good. Bridget Lundy Payne is also phenomenal, but I also was already impressed with her based on what I had seen her in before, like Justice Smith. I think what Schoenbrunn is going for here is really unique and special. I certainly get the Lynch comparisons, but I think it's a bit dismissive to say this was anything but such a creative and once again, unique vision. The colors are gorgeous, the music is phenomenal, and the feelings this movie evokes is just so unreal. Please go and see us in theaters. Then I watched Self-Reliance and liked it a lot. I, like most people, am a sucker for Jake Johnson and his comedic style, so seeing him direct something like this was pretty cool. Him and Anna Kendrick also have really good chemistry in this, and he does a lot with a pretty simple concept. I know the ending isn't the best, but I like this a lot still. After that, I watched A Serious Man, and this is a great movie. The Coen's dry and unrelenting humor style here is perfect. It perfectly feels so devoid of emotion while also going as goofy as they can within a pretty normal script. Like it's never pushing as far as something like The Big Lebowski or Raising Arizona does, but it's hard to not laugh at the ridiculousness of Larry's situation. The ending certainly was a choice, one I'm not sure how to feel about, but overall, this is still a strong entry in the Coen's filmography. Then I watched Yes, God, Yes, and it was pretty funny. Nothing revolutionary or groundbreaking, but as a former Christian school kid, I'm always okay with making fun of the awful system that those schools and summer camps usually employ. Natalia Dyer's good, but I don't remember a ton of this. After that, I rewatched Fury Road and somehow loved it more than the first time. Choosing to be so unrelenting and making this just a single really long chase was kind of perfect. Miller lands action scenes every time without fail. Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy are both really good, but Nicholas Hoult was definitely the standout here, and he brings so much to each scene. His energy somehow perfectly matches the insanity of everything happening here. What a great movie. Then I watched The Godfather. This was shamefully my first viewing of this movie ever, but it obviously didn't disappoint. There's a lot more subtlety here than I expected, and it's crazy how captivating this is for near 3 hours, but once again, who's really surprised? After that, I watched I, Tonya, and I'm also mad at myself for taking so long to see this as well. But it's really amazing. It's incredibly compassionate to the person of Tonya Harding. It feels like it paints such a detailed and honest picture of her life. I think it's easy and understandable to have tonal problems with this movie, but I think approaching these traumatic events in a really cynical way was a smart choice, because that's how the real Tonya Harding would have, or at least I assume so. Also, what a well shot movie. Love the subtle colors and just gorgeous shots. Then I watched We're All Going to the World's Fair. I was recommended this after seeing I Saw the TV Glow and can see why. Schoenbrunn definitely has such a unique voice and talent for filmmaking, and I'm excited to see what else they make. This certainly didn't work for me as much as I Saw the TV Glow did, but this was one of the best portrayals of the internet experience and the strange feeling that making purely online relationships creates. Also made me really consider my old Xbox 360 friends. After that, I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and come on man, I'm a monkey man in my heart and soul. I think it says a lot that this movie is basically a whole new cast of all CG monkeys. It still works so damn well. It doesn't take long to sell you on these new apes and societies, and honestly, the world building was the only thing I really wanted more of. I love getting to learn about all of their different ape societies and seeing how they built their towns. I just hope we can continue to get more of this franchise. Then I rewatched Barbie. Something that me felt like checking this out again, and I'm very glad it held up so well. It's still hilarious, it still looks good, and it's still just so much fun. I'm glad a movie like this was as big as it was because so much of this is just a love letter to movies and cinema in general. After that, I watched Ex Machina and loved it so much. This is my first Alex Garland movie, and I love his methodical approach to this one, doling out information slowly and building this uncertainty in you the entire time. I feel like this movie was obviously made to be rewatched and picked apart, so I'm very excited to watch this again. The The shots here were beautiful. It creates these gorgeous landscapes, and Garland wasn't scared to pull the camera back and give you a really large perspective of it all. Truly an amazing movie. Then I watched Men and hated it. Ironic, I know, to follow one of Garland's best films with probably his worst, but hey, that's what we do here. Not a huge fan of really anything here or anything Garland is potentially trying to say. It rings pretty hollow to hear a man say what it must be like to be a woman today. Like, no disrespect, but learn your place. Then to end the month, I watched Hairspray. Somewhat similar feelings to the last. We gotta learn your place, guys. This music is good, and I really love James Marsden, but the social commentary feels more like white people trying to feel good about themselves more than anything. Also, I watched X-Men 97, and you should check out the video I made on it. It's not doing that well, and I really love that show, so it would mean a lot to me if you watched it. And that was my May. Did end the best, but I still liked a lot of what I saw. I got a video out while graduating, so that was cool. By June will probably be a lot busier, both in quantity of movie scene and videos in here, so look out for that. If you want to hear any more of my thoughts on these movies or see if they change, you should follow me on Letterboxd. And that's all for now, so as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and go watch some movies.